Welcome to the 1987 Greater Los Angeles Open from Torrance, California. We join the action with the start of match number 1 here on ESPN Classic.
Here's a handshake now, which means that match number 1 will be getting underway. Webb, in his 50th television appearance, will watch Pete McCordick looking for his very first win, shooting on the left lane of the championship pair, which Bo described to you a moment ago. Weeks average 224. Houston, Texas. And with his wife looking on here at Gable House in Torrance, he has opened in a perfect way. Now Wayne Webb, bowling out of Indianapolis, Indiana, native of Massachusetts. Unusual style, Nelson.
Wayne Webb started bowling as a junior bowler, but Chris, you're right, he has developed that low swing style of his. Wayne Webb used to hold the ball waist high, but he felt more comfortable holding it down by his side, and that kept his arm swing much straighter. As you see him drive through the line, ending up about 18 inches behind the foul line, slightly off balance on that shot, has left himself a relatively easy spare, the 2-4.
Bill Webb marking with a spare, the 29-year-old who last year reached the TV finals 3 times without a victory. Which didn't, of course, make him happy, because this is a tough competitor. 16 titles in a 12-year PBA career. Running it out a bit, Wayne Webb. And McCordick, who marked with a strike in the first frame, shooting now in the second. The winner of this match will meet Mats Carlson from Gothenburg, Sweden, then John Gant of Independence, Kentucky, and Ricky Corona, like McCordick, a non-winner.
Pete, with the style that he's developed over the years, is almost a textbook style. 4-step delivery, slightly higher than shoulder arm swing, extended follow through right towards the target. Off to a good start with 2 strikes. Could extend his lead over Wayne Webb to 20 pins with a 3rd strike here in the 3rd frame.
Pete McCordick, who was on television 3 times last year without a win, and today the winner will get $18,000, $9,500, runner-up $7,000, $5,500, and the loser of this match we're watching right now, $4,500. Webb now looking, hoping to double. 3rd frame, right lane. A 2-pin.
Once again, Wayne light on the right-hand lane. And what you have to watch with Wayne Webb is you see his ball sliding by the head pin, gets a good break as he leaves only the 2-pin, a simple spare. Is Wayne Webb is dropping his right shoulder more than he ever has in the earlier part of his career. And I think that's the reason he hasn't had a good year the last year and a half.
Wayne Webb on this championship pair crossed it twice, averaged 241, McCordick 206, and Wayne was one of 4 who shot perfect 300 games here during the week.
Watch Wayne Webb's eyes as he lines up. He looks down to see where he should mark on the approach. Then watch his eyes as he picks up his 2 spots in the lane. There's the early one, then down the lane, then back to the other one. Good movement.
Here is a most prolific non-winner on the Professional Bowlers Tour. Pete McCordick of Houston, Texas, 33-year-old, father of 2, who has 3 in a row, now shooting in the 4th frame, can increase his lead to 30 pins. That's 4.
In 14 previous championship round experiences, as you see wife Susie looking on, liking the action so far, Peter perfect through 4 frames. Pete McCordick has only won 1 match in 15 attempts. He's 1-14, but he has a new year under his belt, and he really looks sharp. He practiced very hard in November and December. Is perfect through 4 frames.
Make it 5 now for Pete McCordick. He and Susan have 2 sons as we get a replay of that shot.
The action of the 2-pin, it drives to the sideboard, taking out the 4 and 7 pins, and that's one of the big reasons the scores have been so high at the Gable House. You're rewarded with a strike almost every time you hit the pocket.
And Wayne needed that one. Cutting the lead to 30 pins. We asked Wayne earlier that he predicted in 1980 he'd be the bowler of the decade. How's he doing?
Well, in 1986, I had a real bad year. It humbled me. It made me work a lot harder. In the last 6 months, I've been working real hard, practicing 20 games a day. Now things seem like they're coming around. I'm working on my spares, and I'm starting to bowl real good again.
Okay, Wayne, he has two spares already in this match. A double up now, shooting in the 6th frame. Getting some consistency now, Bo, isn't he?
Right, Chris. Nobody has lost a pocket hit. The 2 shots that didn't strike so far today were shots by Wayne Webb in both the 1st and 3rd frames. He hit light. He's been rewarded with 4 strikes, but he still trails this man by 20 pins, who is perfect through 5.
Now he has 6. 6 more, and it's $100,000. McCordick, we asked him earlier about a New Year's resolution.
Well, this New Year's, I just decided to forget all my the past that wasn't successful and remember what was. Just start over. Jack Biondelillo said to say or think of heaven in '87, so that's my theory and goal for this year.
Jack Biondelillo, 1 of 3 to shoot perfect 300 games on ABC. Make it 7 in a row. All right. What a match. Today's Wide World of Sports. 3 parts and 3 exciting parts. And we have excitement here in Torrance, California live. Wayne Webb trailing by 40. He has 3 in a row, shooting in the 7th frame. His opponent has 7 in a row. Our first match. Still 30 pins, although he has strung 4.
The release of Wayne Webb, one of the great wrist actions in the sport. Look at that hand snap right around the ball, imparting it end over end roll, and watch it take the bite at the back end. All 10 pins in the pit. He trails by 30. Don't ever count this young competitor out. Tough, tough, tough. He's determined. He'll keep the pressure on McCordick. What happens there is Wayne Webb puts a lot of rosin on his thumb, and occasionally when he rocks from that down position, his thumb slips slightly. Good move to stop. Reset yourself. A lot of players, even the league bowlers, not concentrating enough to stop an errant shot.
Mm-hmm.
Good move.
And could smile even. Five in a row for Wayne Webb.
The power of Webb's ball. All 10 pins in the pit. And does he like it? Let's watch.
Okay, now on the lanes, the right lane with 7 in a row, shooting in the 8th frame. Four to go.
Chris, last week we saw our tournament winner, Kent Wagner start with a string of 8 strikes in a row before being stopped by a 7-pin in the 9th frame. Once again, I'll tell you what, Pete McCourty's got a great shot at this as his wife looks on because he's pressed. He still needs strikes to win the match. It's not a cakewalk. Wayne Webb still has a possible 270 game. So McCourty doesn't have this locked up by any means.
9th frame. 3 more. 9 in a row, 3 to go. And there is Susan McCordick. And boy, I'm dying to give away. True value is $100,000. Ed Langto and Dan Cotter quaking probably back in Chicago.
Webb still in the match, though. He must continue to strike.
High hit, leaving the 9.
Great string for Wayne Webb as he had spare in the 1st and 3rd frames, strung 5 strikes in a row. Looks like an apparent spare here in the 9th frame. The best he can do would be 249. Normally a winning score in anybody's match, but not today, as his opponent, Pete McCourty, has a chance for a perfect game.
Wayne hasn't won a title since capturing back-to-back tournaments on the tour in 1985 when he won a light beer championship in Milwaukee and the Fairlanes Open in Baltimore, matching his 50th appearance on TV. And here's McCordick.
What is going through that young man's mind?
And now
a man who has never won a championship on the PBA Tour. Chris, I'll bet you there's many a player who has won a national title would love to have the 300 that McCourty has a shot at right now than any one of those championships. What an opportunity coming up in just a minute.
as we mentioned, Wayne Webb had one of the 4 300s during the week. Best games for McCourty, whom you're looking, there's wife on the left, Susan, 288 and 279.
Some of the other 300 rollers this week, Mike Albee, Ron Palumbi, and Rod Pasteur. 4 perfect games. Wayne Webb can credit himself with 249 with another strike. Just not enough.
Big 249 for a man from Rehoboth, Massachusetts, now bowling out of Indianapolis, Indiana. And here we are now. 9 in a row, needs 3 more. Now he needs 2 and $100,000.
Pete McCourty, a great arm swinging, loses the ball slightly on the downswing. You see it ball only about 3 or 4 inches over the foul line, but direction is 95% of the sport. Solid in the pocket. The last player to stand in this position I can remember, Chris, was Johnny Petraglia. He had 11 in a row before finishing with 298. And I asked John, what went through your mind? He says, I went blank. The pressure was so much. Look at Pete shaking. 10 in a row.
1 more. Ladies and gentlemen, just 1 more. And that couple, the McCourticks of Houston, Texas, will be $100,000 richer.
Well, we gave away $100,000 in the U.S. Open just 4 weeks ago to another Texan, Del Ballard Jr. Pete McCourty, bowling immortality.
Is that a sight, Bo?
Within his grasp, 1 more strike. 1974, Jim Stepnich was the last time.
All right, here it is. Right lane. We have it.
Pete McCordick. The tournament's not over. We still have 3 games left, but he's put a big dent in the prize fund.
Okay. Can you talk?
Oh, I don't know, man.
Susan, come here, quick.
She can't talk either, I don't think. I don't know.
How about those 2 young sons that are back in the wings?
Geez. They're in the nursery watching. I know Patrick's probably old enough to understand how excited I am. What a thrill. Jeez, I was just...
How heavy was that last ball on the shot?
Well, but the last 3, the 10th one, I think my knees buckled on about the 3rd step. Then the 11th shot, I felt really good with it. And the 12th one, I just wanted to throw it and just pray that all of them went down. I don't even know how I made the shot.
All right, Harry Golden, our tournament director all these years. Harry, you're an old hand at this a little bit.
Well, I haven't bowled 300, but what an exciting time. And Pete, congratulations on becoming the first bowler in 15 years to bowl a perfect game on our championship round. On behalf of the people at True Value Hardware Stores, we'd like to present you with this check for $100,000.
I can't even hold it, I don't think. My hands are shaking so much. Thank you, Harry. What a thrill. What a thrill. This is it's amazing.
In the 5th frame. Leaving him solid 8 after striking in the 4th frame while we were away because of slow play. We have to bowl through.
A solid 8. The first time a player today has not been rewarded with a strike when he put the ball in the 1-3 pocket. One of the elements necessary for high scores naturally is good carry, good lane condition we have here today, and of course some of the greatest talent ever to step on a bowling lane.
Okay, the man who bowled a perfect 300 game a little earlier has doubled now and takes a 4-pin lead.
Chris, he's made the adjustment on the right-hand lane, and Pete McCordick is doing something I haven't seen done successful very often. He is using a 1 ball on the right-hand lane and switching to another ball on the left-hand lane. He just threw a strike with the ball that just returned, grabbed another one off the rack, and he's up again on the left. Tough to do.
He has the fans with him today, naturally.
The head pin goes to the sideboard, drives out the 2, 4, 5, but doesn't quite get the 8. The machine has to wait at least 4 seconds before it comes in play. It does that. Once again, Pete McCordick is only his 3rd spare to shoot today.
All right, Susan McCordick, who watched along with you, her husband, with 12 strikes in a row and a perfect 300 game.
Mats Carlson, who owns 2 pro shops over in Europe, one in Sweden and one in Norway. He still maintains those while competing on the American tour. Tells me he pays the money that he wins in the United States goes for U.S. taxes. European money stays in Europe.
There's the man that's won every major European title, which gave us an opportunity earlier to ask him the difference between European and United States bowling.
The league system is completely different. We bowl 8 guys on 8 pairs instead of 5 men on 1 pair. And that makes the pace a little different. We don't get at those, you don't bowl as fast as you do over here.
Well, Bo, you have bowled in Europe. What about it?
Well, that's their league style, and the amateurs use that, Chris. When the pros have bowled over in Europe or over in Japan or anywhere, we still bowl the same style we use here in the United States. The format of qualifying, then match play, and then, of course, the championship round as we see here today.
All right. Shiny day. Here's the man that shot a perfect 300 game in our first match and won $100,000. And right here, a tough match against Mats Carlson from Sweden with a strike in the 7th frame.
And here you go with the trajectory of Pete McCordick. He's using a shiny ball in the right-hand lane, trying to hold down his hook. He makes an adjustment for the 2 shots that went high in the 1st and 3rd frames, knocks all 10 pins in the pit. Now on the left-hand lane, as he comes up here in the 8th frame, trailing by 7, he's using a dull ball, which will bite the lane surface a little more, hook a little more, and if he can make it strike, he'll have the lead.
Crossing over, leaving the 6-10. You know, Pete was so nervous at the start, waiting for his wife to arrive from the airport.
Well, he's had a nervous couple of hours as you see the ball go a little high, lead the 6-10. Susie, how can they even be nervous, Chris? All they got to worry about is getting that $100,000 in the bank.
I'll tell you, Susie looks like a competitor, too.
Yes, she does. And as we see Pete McCordick waiting for something to be cleared. I can't see it from this angle. There must be a pin in the channel, Chris, that we cannot see. But all pins must be cleared from the playing area, so obviously there's something in the right-hand channel that's forcing him to wait to make this conversion on the 6-10.
ABC's college football live at 2 Eastern tomorrow. Live from Auburn, Alabama. It's University of Las Vegas, University of Nevada. Basketball, the round ball, without any holes in it, Nelson, and that should be a real match. Lost it and left the 6 at open frame in the 8th.
Okay, to explain that frame, what happened is the machine set the 6-pin off, as we saw a fellow get down there and put the 6-pin back on spot. McCordick does not gauge the proper amount of hook across lane. He slides right by the 6-10. He has left the 6-pin standing and has found himself in arrears by 19. Mats Carlson has 2 strikes working. Coming up here in the 8th, he can extend his lead to 29.
And he does just that.
Mats using about the same trajectory as Pete McCordick, a little bit more towards the second arrow, drives all 10 pins in the pit. He looks very sharp, can really put our 300 player Pete McCordick in trouble here with another strike in the 9th frame. That would extend his lead to 39 pins. He would be going at a 239 pace. The best, 236. The best that McCordick can do is 217. Big shot for both players right here.
Runner-up in 1984, Rookie of the Year, to John Gant. And the winner of this match will meet John Gant. 4 in a row for Carlson from Gothenburg, Sweden, home of boxer Ingemar Johansson.
Who gave boxing fans in the heavyweight division many a thrill. McCordick must strike. Cannot win if he doesn't strike in the next 3 shots.
Well, Bo, you mentioned boxing thrills by Johansson. Well, I did all those fights, but I think the 300 was more exciting today.
I agree. Now watch this pin come from the right-hand part of your screen, slide all the way over. It's the 3-pin, slides over, hits the 4-pin, almost knocks it out. Would have been a redeeming shot for Pete McCordick. Not to be. He's going to take home his $100,000, though.
And he can add $5,500 to it, which will help.
Not a bad paycheck. To go along with the $6,550 he's already earned this year, he will take over the leading money winner role on the Professional Bowlers Tour.
Good point. Meanwhile, left-hander John Gant continues to warm up because he will meet the winner. And then the tournament leader, looking for his first title, Ricky Corona, from the Oakland, California area.
McCordick just finishing up. The best he can bowl is 207. Mats Carlson going at a 236 pace. It's going to be Carlson and Gant in the semifinal match.
Why the 300 happened here at Gable House, which is owned by Jack Cogan. His son Mickey is the general manager, and the older son is Kevin Cogan, IndyCar driver. What a family. There's Kevin in the center, Jack, the dad, on the right, and Mickey, who manages Gable House. So it's a 2:06 to go along with a perfect 300 game for Pete McCordick of Houston, Texas.
Mats Carlson just going through the motions right now. He has a potential 256.
Mats Carlson going for the 3-6, covering it in the 7th frame. Missed his first shot, but he left the 3-6. Running behind our allotted time schedule. That's why we're bowling through. And I say fortunately we're running behind because of one big reason. Pete McCordick of Houston, Texas, bowled a perfect 300 game, is $100,000 richer as a result. And the second man from Houston to bowl a 300 joins Jack Biondolillo from that Texas town.
Mats Carlson up in the 8th frame leads John Gant by 20 pins. Watch the high backswing and the turn of the hand of Mats Carlson. Up, turn, release.
And last 300 game on TV, 1974, also in California, Alameda, California, Jim Stefanich.
Here's a man the players call Buzzsaw. We said before, because the way he chops up the pins, use the fingertip grip, you're going to see a lot of John Gant, one of the great talents on the PBA Tour. Can cut the lead of Carlson down to 10 pins.
All right, John Gant. We said to him earlier that he had improved in '86, and we asked him what the George Young Average Award, Memorial Average Award, meant to him.
Well, to me, that's a great accomplishment. I really didn't expect to win the award, but I had a good fall session, and I just happened to fall into that. But in '85, I had a terrible year, and in '86, I started with a better mental attitude, and I worked harder in my game, and I just improved steadily over the year, and hopefully it carries over for this year.
All right, John, the voice of John Gant, and a powerful strike from the left side.
And Chris, you said we're running behind our allotted time. Agreed. Pete McCordick, a 300 game in the first match, but we have a chance to even get further behind in time because we have a potential of a tie. As you can see through 9 frames, it is all even. Mats Carlson can take the lead with a strike here in the 9th. The fingertip grip, the stretch grip. The players out here call it the gorilla grip when you stretch that wide. The big danger is tendon injury to your wrist and your forearm. Here's to take the lead, 9th frame.
Carlson, who won the last match over McCordick, the 300 shooter, 234 to 206.
Watch the ball as it enters the 1, 3, hits the 5 and the 9 pins. Just like you would diagram it. The ball actually only hits 4 pins when it strikes. It's the action of the 4 pins after they leave the ball that takes out the other 6 pins. That's the reason you need angle, speed, and spin on the ball, or lift, to drive them down. Carlson, for him, he could lock out John Gant with 2 more strikes. If he doesn't, Gant can win, or we would have a tie, a possible tie game.
A 4-pin for Carlson on the left lane.
That sets up a real possibility of a tie game. Right now, Mats Carlson going at a 236 pace as the ball slides slightly high. The 2-pin goes to sideboard, doesn't take out these 4 and 7 pins. He wants it, he wants it. Not to be, has an easy spare to shoot. It's going to the last ball in this match. You see Mats Carlson looking to the left. That's the official scoreboard of the players being kept over to the side. With a strike, he would have 236. John Gant tying his shoe, making sure that nothing goes awry, as he must strike at least once and possibly twice to win this game in the 10th frame. Carlson with a strike here would force Gant to get at least one strike and 9 to tie, 2 strikes to win.
Stubborn 7 on the left lane, a 235 for Mats Carlson.
And watch how important this 7-pin is. The ball enters the 1-3. Watch the action of the 5-pin. There it goes over towards the 4-7. Remember that 7-pin. As John Gant's on the approach, he must strike on this ball. What a day. That could have been a strike in anybody's book. It cost John Gant the match.
At Denny's, you get more than a...
Mats Carlson, the first foreign player to win a title in the United States, did that as an amateur bowler, so he didn't receive any money for it. But he has also won another PBA tournament last summer to qualify for the Firestone. And if he can win here, he'll save Mark Baker. Ricky Corona, first championship appearance. First shot, left lane.
Almost. Mats Carlson, winner of 2 matches thus far. Big news today was the perfect 300 game by Pete McCordick. And Pete's right here. Pete, are you not trembling now, are you?
No, I'm a lot more relaxed now. I was calmed down pretty much right afterwards. I wanted to get back into winning the matches, but I just couldn't do it the second game.
Well, as we see Ricky Corona, our tournament leader, who hasn't bowled on this pair in more than an hour, what were the changes in the lane condition, and even in the 300 game, Peter? There must have been a change.
Yeah, the right lane hooked at least a board or 2 more by the time we started the second game. I thought I made a good shot both in the when I left both 4 pins early in the match, and then toward the end of the game I made a couple of bad shots that cost me the match.
Let's see if Corona can make an adjustment.
And his first shot is a strike in our final match. 18,000 to the winner.
Newcomer on the scene, Ricky Corona. 5-step delivery, high backswing, snaps that wrist, plants that left foot, starts off strike on the right-hand lane. Corona must win to get a trip to the Firestone Tournament of Champions. Chris, just as our 300 roller predicted, the right-hand lane finishes quite a bit. The left-hand lane is a little bit slicker. Corona figuring this left-hand lane is going to hook as much as the right-hand lane. And what happens, the head pin goes to sideboard, knocks out the 7, the 4, and the 8, but doesn't quite get the 2-pin. Corona has to make a adjustment on this left-hand lane. Easy spare.
Spare for Corona, whose highest finish on the national tour was 15th in last year's St. Louis Open.
Mats Carlson, who is an avid soccer player, he played what they call 3rd division soccer, which is one of the upper divisions in Europe. He was a midfielder, and he said he got injured in his left knee, gave it up, and continued his bowling, and no doubt he has made the proper decision.
Strike in the second for Carlson. We said the winner today 18, the runner-up 9,500.
Watch Mats from behind. This is a great shot. You see the high arm swing, see the movement of the hand, the old figure 8 movement we used to see back in the older days of lacquer lane surfaces. The straight lift through the ball, about 10 revolutions, and drives all 10 pins in the pit. The match is even after 2 frames. Here's Carlson by round. Remember, we bowled 6 rounds. The first 3 rounds, 18 games of qualifier. The last 3 rounds, 24 games match play.
Important double for Carlson here in our final match of the Greater Los Angeles Open in Torrance, leading by 10 pins, and the tournament leader, Corona, is up. His parents are here. His sister is here. There's Teresa Corona, Ricky's mom. And there's Terry, his sister.
Corona hit the right-hand lane the first frame.
Also this crowd with that 8-pin.
We've only seen one other 8-pin so far today, and that was a solid 8 left by. Now watch this pin action. This is really important. Watch the ball enter the 1, 3, and watch the 5-pin get driven straight back off the 8. Here it goes. Now we saw the 1, the 3. Now watch the action of the 5-pin. Boy, oh boy, see that 5 should go right back into the 8. Too much power for Corona.
Corona, we asked him the difference between amateur and professional bowling.
Well, I think the biggest difference I found so far is that the stakes are a lot higher and the pressure is much greater. In junior bowling, we were competing mainly for trophies. In college bowling, it was team-oriented, so I had the support of 4 other guys behind me. Now I'm on my own, and the pressure is a lot greater, and it gives me a lot more things to think about.
The former collegiate All-American bowler, University of California, Berkeley. 2-4.
That was a key shot. A little lack of experience showing up there. Remember what our Pete McCordick said when we spoke with him. He says the right-hand lane's finishing a couple more boards than the left. So look at Corona's game. He started on the right, got a strike, hit light on the left-hand lane, came up solid in the pocket again in the third on the right-hand lane. Did not make the adjustment. The adjustment for Ricky Corona would have to be move your feet 2 or 3 boards to the right on the approach to get only more angle to the pocket. He'll have to make that move. Motz needs to convert this spare to stay 10 pins ahead in the match. Motz started the game with a spare in the first frame, struck in the second and third frames, has gone high, avoided the split, but a cross lane for the 3-6-10 in the fourth.
Okay. Still 10-pin difference here. Carlson leading by that margin. We mentioned his opponent, Corona, college graduate, the man that shot a perfect 300 game today. Pete McCordick attended the University of Houston. So more and more we're getting bowlers out of the collegiate ranks.
The rosin bag being held by Ricky Corona and his bowling glove. That for good grip, that rosin, very important. Mats Carlsen, 5th frame, leads by 10.
Carlson, who defeated McCordick 234 to 206 after Pete shot that perfect 300 game, and then he defeated John Gant to get to this spot in the final. So now Corona trailing by 10. You see a strike and 3 spares. Shooting in the 5th frame. Next week, the Quaker State Open. Grand Prairie, Texas, that is. Four-pin.
Ricky slightly high on the right-hand lane. Now watch the action, the 2-pin right over here as it goes to the sideboard, it crosses over and should take out the 4 and 7, not to be. Knocks out the 7, leaves the 4. Corona with a conversion here will only trail by 11 pins at the halfway mark.
Immediately following on Wide World today, World Cup Gymnastics, Men's Downhill World Championship, and a report on the America's Cup.
Chris, I watched that America's Cup, and it's really, really interesting. That's a best-of-7 series. Just phenomenal. We wish Dennis Conner all the luck in his quest to bring it back to the United States. Ricky Corona taking one of his 3 allotted re-racks in the championship game. He trails by 11 pins, 6 frame. Needs to make an adjustment on this lane. This is an important shot to him.
A 7.
He made the adjustment, but just not quite enough. He leaves the 7-pin as he trails by 12. Now watch the footwork of Corona. Methodical, very smooth. Watch as he hits the foul line, slides right in close to the foul line, trailing right foot. The action, the head pin takes out the 4, 5, but doesn't quite get the 7. Corona not beating himself, keeping the ball around the pocket. It's a close match.
Very deliberate bowlers, Mats Karlsson of Sweden.
Karlsson to take a 22-pin lead with a strike.
6, 8, or 9, 10.
A quizzical look he gives the lane. He looked down at his target where he had thrown the ball. Now watch the action as the head pin is drives out all the pins on the left-hand side. He leaves the 6, 9, and 10 spares. Gets a good break on the left side of the lane. Got to avoid the chop of the 6 off either the 9 or 10. Mats Karlsson leads this match by 12 pins, 4 frames to go against a very tough newcomer to the PBA Tour, Ricky Corona. Karlsson, 6 feet 1 inches tall, 170 pounds, or for the European scales, approximately 80 kilos in the metric system. Up on the lane, he has hit so well. Lane 13 here at Gable House Bowl in Torrance, California.
Ricky Corona. While we were away, he had a strike in the 7th, and then he left a 7-10, unfortunately.
Watch the action. Apparent good hit. Important in the match. Boom. He hits light, saws that 5-pin straight back. Here comes the head pin. Not to be the 7-10 split. He trails by 26 pins. Karlsson in the driver's seat can extend to 36 with another strike.
Big double for Mats Karlsson, who's in his 3rd match, a victory over McCordick, who shot that perfect 300 game in our first match and won $100,000, and then over John Gant to get to the finals against Ricky Corona. Re-rack coming up.
Each player is allowed 3 re-racks in the championship. Mats Karlsson right now in the driver's seat, gauntlet in hand, can just about put away Ricky Corona with another strike. Karlsson going at a 2:17 pace. Corona, the best he can do is 2:01. This shot here could tell the whole story of this match, but not the whole story of the day. Pete McCordick has won the day.
Just adding to his total, another strike for Karlsson. But here's the man with the striped shirt, profile view, Pete McCordick, 12 in a row in the first match, the first 300 games since 1974 in a television final. And Bo, having done quite a few firsts in sportscasting, like the first sudden death NFL championship game, this is my first 300 on live television.
Mine also, Chris. All the predecessors were in the 60s and early 70s.
And the tournament leader with a strike in the 9th frame. Winner to receive the championship trophy here, $18,000. Runner-up, $9,500.
Ricky Corona, nothing has gone well for him today. He struck in the first frame, was light in the second, solid 8 in the third, light again in the fourth. Then from the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th frames, he's kept the ball around the pocket. Nothing good happening for him. Disaster in the 8th frame as he left what we call the swishing 7-10. That was his undoing in his quest for his first PBA title. The best he can do is 2:01. Karlsson has the match well in hand. Obviously disappointed, but you'll see more of this young man who was just excellent all week long. A crowd thriller. They were behind him. Mats wins his 3rd title, his 2nd as a pro. the Greater Los Angeles Open.
And as you said, Nelson, the big winner today was Pete McCordick of Houston, Texas. 14 years on the tour, never a win, but a perfect 300 game and 100,000 today.
Ricky Corona's last ball. A strike would give him 181.
And of course, not enough. His first try for a title, which would have been his first. Ricky Corona. We will, of course, see him. And Mats Karlsson of Gothenburg, Sweden, has won his second professional title here at Gable House, where a perfect 300 game was shot by Pete McCordick of Houston, Texas. We congratulate Karlsson and McCordick. 235 to 181. There is Mickey Kogan, and here is Pete McCordick, $100,000 richer because of a perfect 300 game. Here is that big shot.